Hey everyone, this is Kiki L'Italienne, and you are listening to Association Chat Flash Briefing. It's May 9th, and it's Thursday, and let's get on with it. So a lot of times I talk about upcoming interviews that I'm going to do, or I share a little bit from an interview that I've just had on Association Chat, because the podcast is such a huge part of the community and the overall experience of what Association Chat is. But today, what I thought I would do is I would step outside of my comfort zone and maybe talk a little bit about stuff that I think is really important and that I'm paying attention to, questions I'm asking right now in my own life. And what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about this idea of creativity and the idea of being inspired by the restraints that we put around it. Now, for a lot of people, and for a long time, there's been such an emphasis on, especially in design thinking. One of the things that you're listening to all the time is this idea of throw every idea out, get all of the big ideas out. And if anyone's actually been in a real life situation with these big ideas, a couple things. One is that some of us have some pretty crazy, far out there big ideas. And it is uncomfortable when we're told we're in a safe space and we throw out these big, crazy, wild ideas. And the people who said, no, we really want them, there are no bad ideas, kind of laugh at them, which has happened to me and actually just happened to me within the past couple of months. But this has been something that's happened throughout my life, because I dream really big. The other thing is that those people who might be a little bit meeker look at examples like that, I know, and they use it as proof that they shouldn't. Even if they had a somewhat big idea, they use the example of scoffing at someone's big ideas as an excuse for why they shouldn't share. And then we all wonder why things aren't more innovative and why things aren't more creative. So argument one is that we really shouldn't laugh at any ideas, and we should try to, of course, make people feel more comfortable when we're in, these ideation, brainstorming type sessions. That said, may I please play devil's advocate for the other side of that? Another thing you'll learn in any kind of design thinking framework, which I'm kind of tired of that whole discussion. I think it's a good framework, but it's not the only one. But one thing that you'll learn that I think is important that doesn't get stressed enough is that in that framework, there is supposed to be a contraction and expansion, contraction, expansion. So right after you ideate and you dream big and you put everything out there that's even impossible, but everything, then that's when you contract back and then you start to become more selective with your focus and you begin to drill in, and then you expand and then you contract, and it's this beautiful dance back and forth. Similarly, I've had a lot of people, including my own daughter recently, which is what made me think about this, who talk a lot about breaking the rules. And I had an art teacher when I was younger, when I was in high school, who said something. He said a lot of things that really resonated with me. But one of the lessons he really imparted to me was all about needing to know the rules before you break them. So the idea is that when you look at great painters, a lot of times they studied in great detail what all of the rules were before they broke the rules, right? They could duplicate or copy certain styles and mastered those before they got to the point where they splattered paint across a canvas. It's not that they couldn't paint in one of the classic ways. It's that they now knew what these rules were. And it gave them a more sophisticated, educated, uh, un- deeper understanding of the nuances that go into the history of a thing, of a subject, of art. Musicians, the same thing. And you'll see this over and over again with great masters. In poetry, the same thing. I was really drawn to free verse when I was younger because it's free and you don't have the rules. You don't have to write in a particular pattern. However, I was so surprised when I had to write in a particular format, in a particular framework, and discovered that if I'm writing a sonnet, there are things that are coming out that wouldn't otherwise have come out that were very valuable, very creative. And it took me to places I couldn't have gone to otherwise. Um, so, one of the things I'm always talking about with Margot, my daughter, is that you do have to know the rules before you break them. So for dance, she's a dancer. I'm like, this is why it's so important to learn and really learn every step, every move, everything that they're teaching you in class, so that you can then, break the rules and break them beautifully when you get older. Twyla Tharp says something very similar in her book, The Creative Habit. She says, before you can think out of the box, you have to start with a box. And so, for you all today, if you're listening to this, it's a little bit longer, but for you all today, I want to challenge you to, instead of thinking outside of the box, start with a box. What is the box? Ask questions of it, get curious about it, understand the box first. So, what are those ideas that you're struggling with today? I'll tell you how I'm applying it. I have an audit that I've really put off doing for a client, and now I've got now, tomorrow, the weekend, and through the rest of next week to do this audit. But then, of course, I'm providing recommendations on top of it. There are a million ways to do an audit in a boring way. I'm doing a social media and communications audit for a client. And I realized, who says that this audit has to look like every other audit that's been done before or that I've done? Doesn't this client, and doesn't my brain deserve the ability to apply my creativity and to apply my expertise and to not give away more than what they paid for, but to make this experience, this audit, something that is the best it can possibly be in the style of Kiki, right? And that's what I'm going to challenge myself to do today, because I am bored with the way that I've been doing my social media and communications audits. And I really like this client and I really love the work that they're doing, and want to support them and see how they can grow, really see how this thing can expand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them their audit, and I'm not going to spend a ton more time on it. Some of the basics are always going to be the same, but I'm going to understand that box, really think about the purpose of the box, how the box can be the best box it can be, and then expand a little bit beyond it so that it's not crazy, but it's something that they're going to get the most value out of. How are you going to do this? How are you going to apply it? All right, that's your challenge for today. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm always trying different topics and subjects. Some people have said that they want to hear more about me and from me about my own experiences and thoughts rather than just interviewing other people. And so this is that. I'm trying to do a little bit more of that. Tell me what you think, if you like it, if you want more, want less, think I should stick to interviewing others. Love to hear it. Hope you're doing well. Talk soon.